This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with a daily wrestling news update for you. Smackdown, their early rating was the usual zero point 0.5 last night. WWE's Alexa Bliss said she's happy that Logan Paul's pig was rescued. And for anyone that doesn't know that story, apparently Logan Paul moved to Puerto Rico a while ago, and he used to have a pet pig that appeared in a bunch of his videos. But somebody found this pet pig that was not very well taken care of, to say the least, and called Logan Paul out on it and made a big deal about it. So now this pet pig has been rescued. And speaking of Logan Paul, he is a strong rumor to be back from his injury in time for the Royal Rumble. Apparently, according to Slam Wrestling, one of the big Canadian news sites that used to be affiliated with Sun Media, isn't anymore from the best of my knowledge. Apparently, a lot of the people interested, or the entities interested in purchasing WWE, don't have any interest in keeping Vince around if it's purchased. So that would probably eliminate them if he has final say on who buys them, which he does. Apparently, I listened to Dave Meltzer's radio show today, and he said, as far as the confidential settlements that were leaked to the Wall Street Journal, three of the people that could have leaked them are Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon, or Triple H, because they would have been privy to that information and would have benefited by Vince McMahon having to step down. One thing I definitely agree with Dave Meltzer on, that he talked about today, that I think most of you fans would agree on too, is Tony Khan continuing to try and push Ring of Honor. Like, there's going to be a Ring of Honor show WrestleMania weekend, and they're going to, I think, somewhere like a 10,000 seat building. But it would be so much easier to sell tickets if they would just make it an AEW show. And by the time he bought Ring of Honor, it was dead. They couldn't fill arenas giving away free tickets. And they literally had shows where tickets were free. And they weren't filling the arenas. And he would rather promote shows of a company, of a brand that is less known and doesn't have a TV deal, than for instance, have an AEW show WrestleMania weekend in a 10,000 seat building. That would be much easier to sell out. So I definitely agree with Meltzer that why bother having a brand that you have to build up? Why not just use your energy continuing to build a brand that's on TV and has more of a fan base? Whereas it's not like they're getting any non-Smart Mark fans for Ring of Honor. And it's just an overload of titles, because now on top of all the AEW titles, they also have Ring of Honor titles that are defended on the AEW shows. So I can only imagine that it's because Tony Khan was a big Ring of Honor fan. And Meltzer also brought up in his radio show today that both Tony Khan and Triple H, in charge of creative for both of those companies, aren't doing it for the money. They could never work again if they wanted to. They're running it because they love it, whereas promoters 30 years ago were running it to make money. So that really made me think wrestling was way more entertaining 30 years ago when people actually needed to make money. And actually, if it didn't get good crowds and the product wasn't great, they wouldn't be able to have a livelihood. Whereas now it's people, as I said, Tony Khan, a creative for AEW, which is great. Glad he loves it. Same with Triple H. He could retire if he wants. He's loaded. But like they're not going to starve if their creative is bad or they book stuff that's not going to draw.